You have one new message. Translating. Disney and Pixar's Hoppers is now available on Disney+.
You could say that again.
Critics are calling it Pixar's funniest movie ever and a wildly entertaining ride. Blizzard Potato. It's certified fresh and verified hot.
Now we party.
This is incredible!
Wow, I am clearing the rest of the day.
Disney and Pixar's Hoppers, now available on Disney+. Rated PG.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Welcome back to The Case For with Chris Cox, the pretend procedural that is set not in the court of last resort, but rather the court of the Disney World Resort. This is the podcast where theme park expert Len Testa and mind reader Chris Cox will regularly debate some of the more trivial aspects of vacationing in Orlando. What makes visiting here a complete joy or an absolute misery? I am the less than honorable James Robespierre, and I'd be presiding over today's proceedings. I mean, I would if we were down the hall in our usual setting.
Which you flooded, Your Honor, and those were wood floors. They're just never going to be the same.
That's what wet vacs are for. All right. Anyway, we're just down the hall from the court of the Disney World Resort in the mailroom here at the courthouse, and we thought, while we're waiting for things to dry out, Mr. Testa, Mr. Cox, and I would then go through the messages that you kind folks had sent in and to comment on some of the more recent topics we've discussed on this podcast.
We will indeed, and I've got the first letter right here, and they are letters. Whatever you send to us on the touring plan forums or on social media or email, we print out onto letters, environmentally friendly letters, of course, and then read them. So we have a letter here talking about the lounges episode. There was a lot of interest in this. One of the big problems is the communal seating problem. Lady Rapunzel, she got in touch saying her family was a party of 8 and they jammed all 8 of us into a booth and added 2 extra people on stools on the outer edge. And they were so packed in, it was physically uncomfortable and so loud that conversations were just shouting, "What?" at each other. Congratulations if you've done "What?" like that episode of Mickey where he's lost his ears. What? So she cancelled her Beak and Barrel reservation because she didn't want to be a couple stuffed at a table with someone else's family.
I'm surprised that no one's figured out how to stick that random party of 2 with the check at the end. That would make me feel better about the whole experience. I know,
That's unfortunate. Okay. Picking up on our next comment here about the communal seater problem, Heather Knowles said a mom and her adult son were crammed into a booth was in the back corner, couldn't see any of the fancy effects, and they were lovely. We all had a good time, but it was truly the best case crammed with strangers scenario, and it was still a lot.
I think that's the big problem with communal seating at lounges like this, that you could end up with the worst of a bunch of different things. You could end up in a booth that doesn't have a view with people that aren't that entertaining, right? You can meet strangers, and sometimes meeting strangers is super fun, right? They've got different senses of humor. They come from different places, stuff like that. And then sometimes they're a wet blanket, you know? And especially in a place like Beak and Barrel, where the vibe is so important for the overall experience. Yeah. It's not, you're not there for the food. You're not there for the drinks. You're there for the ambiance and the fact that the waitstaff is playing along with the conceit of you being a pirate. So the people that you're with add to that, or they can subtract from it. And I think is that the biggest variable at Beak and Barrel? Because you know what you're getting for food. You know what you're getting for drinks.
Yeah, you don't know what you're getting for other people.
Yeah, but again, I just think, especially given the physical setup of of this new lounge at the Magic Kingdom, again, if you're in the main room, you're fine. If, on the other hand, you're pushed either into, it is the one to the left there called the map room, I want to say.
Yeah, the map room's great.
And then again, where we ended up during our visit, it's just that wasn't all that great an experience at a fairly hefty price tag. And I just, I realized that, Disney was doing what they could with the space available, which, again, previously this was retail, right?
Yeah, it was a combination of retail and some of the queue, yeah. But Jim, I didn't want to bring up the time that you, Jim Scholl, and I visited, but we were seated at the bar, and it was 4 seats across. There were 3 of us, and we were seated with a party of 1. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want to mention it, but that was the wet blanket of like absolutely no personality, right? Like none. Like it was just, it wasn't. They didn't engage. They were just there to check something off the box that said, off the list that said, yes, I've been to Beak and Barrel.
And was that Hill or Scholl? Which Jim was the wet blanket?
I didn't want to say, but I did learn something that day. The one question that I was asked is, how do you guys know each other? And apparently the correct answer is not juvie.
Yes.
Okay. On tour, a few years ago on a US tour, I went to my first Olive Garden, or Oliver's Garden, as I like to call it, and asked whether Oliver was there today. He wasn't. Mm-hmm. And the waitress, it was me and there was maybe 6 of us from the tour, and we're all magicians, and we're all from different parts of the world. And the waitress goes, "Oh, how did you guys know each other?" Mm-hmm. And quick as a flash, I just went, MSN chat room. And she believed it for the whole time. She's like, "Oh wow, you just decided to meet here in the middle of Ames, Iowa?" Yes, we have.
Exactly. Yeah, it was the least convenient for all of us. We were all equally put out in getting there.
It was equidistant from around the world. Picking up on the Beak and Barrel thing, actually, there was a good point by Principal Tinker, not Vice Principal, congratulations on your promotion, about defending the GO82 prices. And they said, and this is a good point, pool bars are charging $17 to $18.50, so 25 cocktails at a premium lounge is not unexpected, but they didn't like the $18.50 mocktails. In fact, they said that's what they choke on, which I hope wasn't literally.
Yeah, I read these comments, and I think they got to that core point about the mocktail pricing faster than any of us did. $18.50 for juice, water, and ice is a lot of
sugar.
Money.
Don't forget all that sugar.
And sugar. It's a lot of money for no alcohol, right? Like, I know that in general, Disney's drink pricing is roughly this formula. The cost of the ingredients plus the cost of the labor to make the drink and serve it cannot be more than 25% of the cost of the drink. So $18.50 mocktail is what, $4.75, let's say, $4.60 something. There's no way that $4 and change in juice, ice, and labor is involved in that mocktail.
Frustratingly, that's sort of the thing with mocktails. In the UK, very much so. Like, mocktails are kind of the same prices as regular cocktails. In fact, zero alcohol beer is kind of the same price as normal beer. They've just gone, oh, that's what it is. And maybe they're using like Seed Lip or one of those alcohol-free variations to then pump the price up. But it is a frustration, isn't it?
Yeah, got it. It's a lot of money for juice and ice and water.
On the other hand, we have a note here from Enchanted by the Mouse, who it sounds like, no matter what the price was for mocktails, she flat out says, "I love GO82 because food menu was so good, and I really enjoyed the location and ambiance. Absolutely loved sitting at the bar and having the bartender make me cocktails that were not on the menu, and charcuterie board alone is good."
Yeah, we got a lot of positive comments about GO82. Sir Greg Lady V said, "There's no sharing of tables. We went where we could watch the fireworks, which was chef's kiss. Very laid back. It's so unlike Oga's Cantina, and it's right up there with No Bad Lounge in terms of quality." So that's high praise, because No Bad Lounge has been consistently rated as one of the best lounges in Walt Disney World from the day it opened.
In fact, Lady Rapunzel got back in touch, and she also agreed. She said that GO82 was wonderful. She loved it. She spent $100 for 2 of them, a drink each, and the charcuterie. The server had a great sense of humor. She's obsessed with Spaceship Earth. She noted the ball, not the ride. Wanted to make that clear. She shares a birth year with Epcot and balked at the $50 charcuterie board, but they shared it, and it was a satisfying amount of food for both of us. It's a very solid experience.
This is the interesting thing. If you take the overall experience of GO82, the food, the drinks, the seating in the lounge, it's better than Beak and Barrel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But that said, Ryan won.
First of all, the Ryans?
Yes.
First of all, the Ryans, exactly. First of his bloodline. Yeah.
He had some issues. Well, to be specific here, to Ryan Wan's way of thinking, the term lounge suggests that it should be relaxing. But nothing about the process of trying to get into this lounge is relaxing. Either book 60 days out or do a walk up and wait for an hour or two. That's not relaxing at all.
Oh, I love this point, too. The word lounge means something different than the word bar or bistro or something similar. You could expect a place that serves food and drinks to either require or accept reservations. Lounge means you should not have to make reservations for it. So it's a little bit of a misnomer here. We all understand that Disney has capacity issues because it's one of the most popular places on the planet, and that reservations are required in Disney for a lot of things that would not normally have a reservation requirement outside of Disney. But still, those words are choices, and the words imply things to people who aren't familiar with Walt Disney World. So I totally agree at this point.
Yeah, I think also like a hotel lounge, I feel like I should be able to go into any point. You know, the difference, I suppose, and the match here to the Disney one is the airport lounge now, or the Admiral's Club, or whatever they're calling it. That now always feels like, oh, well, I need a reservation for that lounge. It's kind of entering the same property, or you're going to wait 30 minutes in line before you can get into scoff some free peanuts and get on your way.
It's interesting you bring that up, because the New York Times literally this past weekend did a full-scale article about that very issue. You know, that how, you know, when did the lounges at the airport, you know, become, you know, a reservation space and so ridiculously crowded?
Yeah, that's a whole separate topic. And someone, I think all of us spend a lot of time in airports, and airport lounges are a little bit of an island of sanity in the midst of utter chaos sometimes. I will say that certain lounges are better than other ones. That said,
yes,
I have yet to get into the Amex lounge in Manhattan, the Centurion Lounge. Like, despite working for that company for like 25 years and still knowing a few people there, I cannot get in. Anyway.
I'm beginning to think that might be the reason why you can't. They know too much about you.
Exactly. You know what?
It's Testa. All right, hang on.
Don't learn anything the second time you're kicked by a mule. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup meal at McDonald's is underway with one of 9 legendary cups in the lineup. Christian Pulisic, David Beckham, Lamine Yamal, Ronaldinho, Thierry Henry, Son Heung-min, Alphonso Davies, Santi Jimenez. And between the posts, it's Grimace. Get one of 9 collectible cups with a FIFA World Cup meal.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time while supplies last. All rights reserved. 2026 McDonald's at FIFA World Cup 2026.
This episode is brought to you by Prime. What if you had one more chance with the one that got away?
Sam, you came home.
Based on the best-selling novel from Carly Fortune. Every Year After follows childhood friends Sam and Percy as they reunite in the dreamy, nostalgic lakeside town of Barry's Bay.
Love can be hard to find. So if you're lucky enough to find that person, never let go.
A second chance at first love. Every Year After, now streaming only on Prime.
LinkedIn's AI-powered job search can help you find the most relevant roles based on your goals and experience. It cannot help you find something to talk about in the elevator.
So, ride any dragons this weekend?
It can help you find your next job just by describing it in your own words. It cannot stop your coworker from describing their dreams.
So I was flying, right?
And while we can't help you advance in the office foosball tournament, LinkedIn can help you advance in your career. LinkedIn is the network that works for you.
We did the episode on Disneyland talking about travel, where I'm sure you tried to use a lounger before flying to Disneyland and once again were kiboshed from getting in. The big argument, I think, which came across from the case for park hopping or Lightning Lane at Disneyland was that more days just beats everything, right? That was kind of the big point there.
Yeah, quantity has a quality all its own, right?
Yeah. Now, Corty SC said, I've had 2 trips.
I think that's the keyboard from South Carolina.
Exactly. It's a special configuration.
There we go.
It's got a special y'all button if it's a Alt F10. Yeah.
Well, Corty SC goes on to say, I've had 2 trips off-site without any Lightning Lane and gotten to ride everything. I wanted to multiple times. I think it helps to have 5 park days. I will always choose a longer trip over any of the other things.
And then Gen94 said, we used to do only one-day park hopper trips, and those were exhausting. Having the extra days in foregoing park hopper makes it more relaxing and enjoyable for us. So, fun fact here, I went back and looked at my Apple Health data from when Hannah and I did 2 Disneyland parks in one day back in November. And including a substantial nap, we walked 21,900 steps in Disneyland in one day, which is the rough equivalent of what, 10, 11 miles?
Easily. Holy.
You could get a medal for that on Castaway Key.
Yeah. You get 2 medals because that's like 2 5Ks. Yeah.
Jeff_AZ, hi Jeff, said that he did 1 park per day trip with the Lightning Lane and it worked really well for him, saved him lots of money, and he felt like he got an extra day free by not having the park hopper. In some ways, it made the trip less manic and more focused. And in fact, he went on to say as well that the best thing that Walt Disney World could do for Lightning Lane is copy the California system of having more frequent drops. So the chance of picking something up on the day helps relieve that stress.
Oh, that's a great point.
That said, though, Wahookie?
Wahookie!
It's Wahoo Hokey, I believe.
Wow, both of us getting it wrong.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, he went on to say that they should try the Disneyland Resorts version. And again, we're talking about Walt Disney World, just to see how it would be received. Day of, one at a time. Cannot book until you enter the park. Maybe it wouldn't work. But, if they haven't found a thing that makes everybody happy yet, so they might as well try this.
That's really interesting about the Disney World trying to adopt the Disneyland model. Remember, they had that as Genie Plus. Right, Jim? And people hated that. And the reason why they hated that is because under the previous FastPass Plus rules, you could book days in advance. And for a global vacation destination like Walt Disney World, the peace of mind that people want from knowing that they've booked the 3 rides in advance outweighed any sort of operational issues or benefits that Disney would have got by keeping the Genie Plus model. And this is interesting. If Disneyland ever went to a 3 to 7 days in advance model for their Lightning Lane, I wonder if everyone would feel the same.
I think, though, this circles back to what Mr. Schul says, to the effect of, if we're all being completely honest, that Disneyland is the world's most famous regional theme park, whereas Walt Disney World is a genuine destination resort. And just people use these 2 Disney properties differently. So
yeah, it's true. And speaking of the day of drops for Disneyland, it's true. They exhibit way more drops on a regular basis, on a predictable regular basis, than Disney World. So just for an example, in Tomorrowland in Disneyland at the Autopia, the drops are at 25 minutes after the hour and at 55 minutes after the hour. Basically the entire time the park is open, starting from like 7 a.m. if the park is open at 7 a.m. and going through at least, to 9 o'clock. So every 30 minutes, starting at, 7:25 if the park opens at 7, there's a drop of Lightning Lane supply at that point. And generally, the next available Lightning Lane during that drop is essentially 5 minutes from now.
And that feels like what Lightning Lane should be to me, right? I want to go on a ride. Oh, it's available. I'm on the ride.
Yeah. I think the other thing that influences this, the reason why Disneyland can do it, going back to Jim Schul's point, is so many locals go to Disneyland for the atmosphere and the vibes rather than to ride rides, that Disneyland can afford to do this. They don't have the same capacity demands on the rides that Walt Disney World does. And if the situations were reversed, I think they would have a different policy.
Excellent point.
Moving on to some different parks, we did 2 episodes about Universal Studios Resort in Florida. We did one about the deluxe hotels, one about the express passes. Picking up on the deluxe hotels, for a start, Joseph Matt got in touch with saying, eye twitches, its signature collection, which was the word we were looking for the whole way through it. And then Lady Rapunzel says she was alone in her car shouting signature collection every time we didn't say it. So I really hope people were walking past going, oh, she really likes a signature collection. But then she makes a really good point. She says Sapphire Falls and Helios shouldn't be Signature Collection, which they are, because they don't offer the Express Pass. So they need to find a synonym for the word value as well, because having Prime Value and Value Inn and Suites is too confusing, as we discovered by also adding the word deluxe into the situation.
I love that last point that Lady Rapunzel makes, because Universal is at least explicit about how it segments its value resorts. Disney lumps everything from the All-Stars to Art of Animation in the value resort category. But we all know just from the pricing alone that there's actually 3 tiers in Disney's value resorts. There's the All-Stars, which are typically the least expensive. Then Pop Century is its own category. And then Art of Animation is its own category. So got to give credit to Universal for at least explicitly saying, here are our value resort segments there.
It's so interesting you bring that up, because I've spent the past week or so, I'm working on a story set back in '88, which is when Disney first walked out the concept of a moderate resort, and to watch the company try to, position the, well, no, this isn't the Contemporary, and this isn't the just opened Grand Floridian. This is something different. It's small. It's cute. It's just up the street. But yeah, think about it. The Helios being what it is, the first of these resorts right at the edge of the park. There is kind of an education curve here. And me personally, I'm going to be fascinated to see what happens with demand at the Helios. I'm sure you've been getting the same stuff from BioReconstruct. They are loading in, the pyro tubes. We are minutes away now from the nighttime show, and I wonder what that's going to do for demand for that hotel when the nighttime show at Epic Universe finally comes online.
I think it's definitely going to drive up prices, because I think when I was talking to Bio, I think, and I could be wrong here, so Bio, forgive me, I'm clasping my hands and looking up as I say this. I think Bio was saying, like, you could get Helios rooms for as little as $250 a night.
Yeah.
Some days. I mean, that's Disney moderate pricing, and you're connected to Epic Universe. That's amazing.
No, absolutely. In fact, the Hershey's made a special trip down to Orlando this week just to take advantage of that pricing at the Helios to find out, what it was like to experience that hotel.
Yeah. Also, Laurel and I were in Epic Universe last week talking to kids from Dickinson College in Pennsylvania. So shout out to Dickinson for letting me do that. I'm not normally allowed within 500 feet of school kids, so that's always a pleasure. But we walked around basically just getting the vibes of the place and had a great time. Didn't go on a single ride. Ate some food, interacted with some characters. It was great.
It's such a good part for that. In fact, when I was there recently staying at the Helios, hello to Rob, who I met, who listened to the show and was working at the Helios. He was showing me out the windows where the firework prep site is going to be. And now it's got those fireworks in it, which is, it can't be long.
Oh,
it's definitely this summer, yeah. Also, I think this summer is when they're going to start opening up Celestial Park to day guests.
Yeah. Yes, that's about to happen with the convention, right, Jim?
Yeah. I want to say we are literally in that window of time, and that's a game changer. I'm going to be fascinated to watch. Just think about Celestial Park these days is kind of a big empty space. I mean, in fact, that's what kind of makes it pleasant. You could, move so freely. And that's going to be interesting come the evening hours to have all of this humanity pour into the park, and suddenly the bars and the shops at the front of the park will be busier. And to have all of those bodies down there by the Central Lagoon thing for the start of the fireworks show. I mean, it's just kind of interesting. This, we're now a full year past the opening, and to see this now coming online. So,
yep. It's true. Chris, let's stay at Universal and talk about the ghost stay strategy that we had discussed earlier.
So we discussed this, the idea that if you stay in a signature collection, or at least the right one,
you're making our listeners' eyes twitch. This is great.
You get Express Pass included, and a lot of people, Dark Might 2 is one of them, said that to make it good value, you have to have 4 people in the room to make the room worth the value of then getting Express Pass thrown in, which is a very good point that we sort of ignored, because I always have 4 people in the room.
Yeah. Although you get to a point where two people plus the time savings starts to work out. For one person, yeah, that's tricky. But for 2 or 3, I think you could be in the close enough camp there. I mean, it depends on everyone's personal situation.
You can buy your time, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, NTEI was planning their trip and they found Royal Pacific at $270 a night and saying booking one night of a deluxe was much cheaper than buying a 2-day express pass for 4 people. And also people point out the idea that you don't have to use the room as well. You can just buy the room, go check in, get your passes, not even stay at the room if you don't want to lug your cases between rooms for one night.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in fact, on that point, Akio Vacation did say that they really liked doing a great name. They really like doing a deluxe stay, and they try and stay at Portofino just for the villa pool. They find it relaxing with the Italian music in the background, walking around the corner. You see the harbour, the boats, the ducks. We sort of did forget the point there in the signature resort. Of course, just the resorts alone are beautiful and lovely and really nice places to stay. Added bonus to get that express pass thrown in.
Yeah, I like the analysis that Ginger Snaps 543222 did around breaking down all the different permutations of hotels and express passes, and said that 2 rooms at Cabana Bay plus a 3-park single-use express pass was cheaper than 1 room at a deluxe for adults who, quote, don't really like sharing one tiny room and one tiny bathroom. Yeah, I like that. But they went on to say that in past trips before Epic, it often made sense to buy one night at a deluxe and not even sleep in the stinking room. So yeah, a throwaway room. You see something similar at Disney with campsites, where people would book a campsite, put 10 people on the reservation, and get things like that free water park day on arrival.
Yeah,
Jim, you and I talked about this, Jim, earlier this year when Disney said that's not continuing into 2027. That's the reason why.
Well, a shame to lose that. I mean, it was a perk that people really, really did enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, Universal has to know that this is happening. I think from Universal's perspective, what would be interesting for me to know is this: if you book a hotel room and don't stay in it, that's almost pure profit, right? Because the hotel room doesn't have to be cleaned or heated or anything like that, and Universal got paid for it. It's almost the same scenario as buying a digital product like Express Pass, which again is almost entirely profit as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I wonder which one affects Universal's bottom line more. I think it would probably be Express Pass, because they're probably doing some sort of revenue sharing or payment agreement with Lowe's to run the hotels. But Express Pass is their own digital product for which they probably take, 95% profit or whatever.
Well, that was a lot of mail. Thanks very much. Is that everything?
Well, that's the last of the letters. We do have this box, though, that appears to be ticking.
Oh, look at the time. I just remembered I have an urgent appointment across town, many miles away from here, in a room with very thick concrete walls.
Hold on, I'll join you. You're going to drive. You're quicker.
And as those two inexplicably race out of the room, this special listener mail edition of the Case for with Chris Cox now officially comes to a close. My thanks to our 2 would-be barristers, theme park expert Len Testa and master illusionist Chris Cox, for helping me dig through the mailbag today. And just a reminder, though, the 3 of us will be back in just 2 weeks' time to discuss another topic related to vacationing at the Walt Disney World Resort. But until such time, I am the less than honorable James Robespierre Hill. And on behalf of Mr. Testa and Mr. Cox, I want to thank you for listening to The Case for, and this court will be back in session soon.